The gentle hum of the airplane's engines provided a calming backdrop, but tension among the passengers simmered beneath the surface. It was an early morning flight from Atlanta to New York, nearly full, with a mix of business travelers and families. Yet, one encounter would soon capture everyone's attention. Robert Miller, an elderly black man with a dignified presence, slowly boarded the plane. A retired school principal, he was on his way to visit his grandchildren. His seat was 12C, an aisle seat for easy access. Beside him in 12B sat a young woman named Emily. In her early 20s, dressed casually, Emily was engrossed in her phone, her feet stretched out, partially occupying Robert's space. As Robert approached, showing the wear of his years, he gently tapped Emily on the shoulder. She removed an earbud, her expression indifferent. "Excuse me, miss. Could you please move your feet so I can sit down?" Robert asked politely. Emily barely glanced at him, rolling her eyes as she moved her feet slightly, but still leaving them intrusively close. Robert managed to sit down, but was clearly uncomfortable. Laura, a flight attendant who had been with the airline for over a decade, noticed the situation while preparing for takeoff. She had a sharp eye for spotting potential conflicts and approached Robert and Emily with a friendly smile. "Good morning, dears. Can I assist you with anything?" Laura asked, sensing the unease. Robert gave her a polite smile, though his discomfort was evident. "No, thank you. I'm fine," he said. Emily, however, didn't acknowledge Laura. She kept her focus on her phone, her feet still encroaching on Robert's space. Laura frowned slightly, deciding to address the issue directly. "Miss, could you please move your feet? Everyone needs their personal space to be comfortable." Emily looked up, clearly irritated. "I'm comfortable like this. Why should I move my feet?" Laura's expression remained calm, though her eyes hardened. "It's a matter of respect and courtesy. Please move your feet." With a huff, Emily reluctantly moved her feet to the floor. Laura thanked her and continued her duties, though she kept an eye on the situation. As the flight progressed, Robert tried to relax but felt the weight of Emily's disrespect. Her attitude reminded him of countless instances of subtle racism and disregard he had endured throughout his life. Midway through the flight, Robert stood up to stretch his legs. When he returned, he found Emily's feet back in his space. His patience was wearing thin. "Excuse me again, miss. Could you please move your feet so I can sit down?" he asked, still calm but clearly frustrated. Emily glared at him. "Why don't you sit somewhere else? There are plenty of empty seats." Before Robert could respond, Laura returned, having noticed the interaction. Her tone was firmer this time. "Is there a problem here?" "He's just being difficult," Emily snapped. "I don't see why I have to move my feet." Laura's eyes flashed with frustration, but she kept her composure. "This gentleman has the right to sit in his assigned seat without being crowded. This is about respect and following simple rules." Emily crossed her arms, defiant. "I don't see what the big deal is. He's just old and cranky." Robert's face tightened, a mix of hurt and anger crossing his features. Laura had had enough. She knelt down next to Robert and spoke softly. "Mr. Miller, would you mind coming with me? I'd like to offer you a more comfortable seat." Grateful for her kindness, Robert nodded and stood up. As he did, Laura turned to Emily. "Stay right here. I'll be back to speak with you in a moment." Laura led Robert to an empty seat in first class, ensuring he was settled comfortably. "I apologize for the inconvenience, Mr. Miller. Please enjoy the rest of your flight." Robert thanked her, feeling relief and gratitude wash over him. Laura then returned to coach class, where Emily now looked uneasy. "Miss," Laura began, her voice firm, "your behavior is unacceptable. Disrespecting another passenger, especially an elderly one, will not be tolerated. Come with me." Emily's bravado began to falter as she realized the seriousness of the situation. Laura led her to a seating area reserved for the flight crew. "You've shown a complete lack of respect and common decency," Laura said sternly. "You'll stay here for the rest of the flight, and this incident will be reported to the airline's management." Emily's face paled as she nodded, realizing there was no arguing her way out. The rest of the flight proceeded without incident. Upon landing, Laura personally escorted Robert off the plane, ensuring he had everything he needed. Meanwhile, Emily was met by airport security and airline officials, who would further address her behavior. Robert's story didn't end there. A video taken by a fellow passenger went viral, capturing not only the disrespect Robert faced, but also Laura's calm and compassionate handling of the situation. Support flooded in from across the country, praising Laura's actions. The airline even commended her for upholding their values of dignity and respect for all passengers. For Robert, the experience, though unpleasant, reaffirmed his belief in the goodness of people. The kindness he received reminded him that respect and decency still mattered, and there were people willing to stand up for what was right. As for Emily, facing the consequences of her actions became a wake-up call. The public backlash and intervention from the airline forced her to reflect on her behavior. She realized the importance of empathy and respect, and vowed to change her attitude moving forward. In the end, this incident became a powerful lesson in humanity. It reminded everyone that no matter how brief the encounter or how small the space, respect and kindness should always guide our actions. For Robert, dignity and resilience prevailed, even in the face of disrespect. What are your thoughts on this story? Have you ever witnessed or experienced a situation where someone stood up for another in need? Share your story in the comments below.